Feature Friday.
The freshest.
Rora.
We continue to discover more talent from Babymonster.
Yeah, sorry, I completely forgot. It turns out I can't count. We went from like 1, 2, 3, 4, 6.
It's been a bit of a crazy one.
Yeah, I do apologize. Also, a lot of things in our mind. But Bale is feeling better and the recovery is going slowly. You know, obviously we're prioritizing health and stuff like that, but we are trying to keep up with everything. Ironically enough, she is the one that everyone was looking forward to the most to hear your thoughts on, because she is the main vocalist, it seems, or someone who's just talented vocally. I'm not too sure. Do let me know in the comments.
Yes.
You don't wanna try me. You're better off thinking, messing with my vibe. I ain't that type.
That's a nice style.
Can I just say though, if you close your eyes and don't look at her face at all, her voice is very mature.
Very
She's
grown,
really
yes.
settled into that. Even though this is not the most comfortable part of her range either. She's not very like a 10 out of 10 in like comfort in this settling of the range, because it's so low down. Also, she's in a really tricky part of her vocal development. Because of human puberty, just because of life.
Yeah, this is something that people forget to mention about this, the fact that they're so young. And
they're still changing. Their larynxes are still changing.
They're not settled yet.
They're not settled at all. So you're hearing a very mature take in a very young like larynx setting. So there's a little bit of discomfort. It's not very noticeable. It's not something that will hinder her performance at all. But I'm just from vocal texture, you can hear a little bit of like, oh, I need to relax into the note rather than having to push into the low range, which is an often mistake. But she's been beautifully coached. You actually have to relax into the lower range to find that freedom of mobility towards the resonant part of your larynx. She's doing such a good job at that, but you can tell that it's part of the mental process that she's having to go through.
And I cannot show anyone and how you lie.
She finds more freedom the higher up you go.
I ain't that type.
That's very mature.
Why do you always gotta push me? You know how to do it, baby. Every single
Yeah, it's stylized. That's interesting.
always gotta push me. You know how to do it, baby. Every single bottle. Ready to leave before I lose control.
It's very
Took it
freaking
too far.
trendy.
Said too many bad things. I don't want the last word. Let this be the last word we share. Why do we yell if we don't care? On some rich, I'll keep you warm.
See that here you can notice. You see, that's the funny thing. I think people are gonna find the falsetto thing like, oh my god, that's so impressive and stuff.
Part, yeah.
But that's like cool.
She's actually comfortable because that's part of her range. So she's actually comfortable there.
These first 50 seconds are the most impressive. And what I mean by stylized is the hardest thing to do as a musician and as an artist is essentially to find your own sound. You hear this, amongst artists all the time. And perhaps if you just like to listen to music and you're fans of the musicians you follow, if you've seen the interviews, you would agree that the most difficult aspect, or the things that they become the proudest of, is I found kind of what works for me, and I found the sound that represents me as Efra, or represents Waleska as Waleska, or Rora as Rora. Obviously, I don't think you can do this at this age. There have been freaks of nature, and maybe she is one of them. But that's why it's so interesting, and I think it's like such a high praise. It's like, wow, she's really stylized her voice, and she seems to have a genre in which she shines the most. Again, we don't know yet. She could be pop. She could be fucking country.
Here
she could
again,
be
that's the beauty
hip-hop.
of K-pop as an industry. I find that
they'll never do country though.
No, but they really push boundaries in terms of like not having to stick to a specific genre. So you could really play with different. Like you could dip your toes in different genres of music. You can do dance. You can do electropop. You can do pop. It's per se, and all of it still maintaining a signature sound, but allowing the artist to kind of like find the flexibility within genres. And I like that aspect about the K-pop overall industry. But this sound that she's found here, whether it's something that she's comfortable with or something that she has mastered.
These are also assessment rounds, right? So maybe she was sort of
Again, these things are given and then coached.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes they can pick. I don't know how it really works, but whatever the process was, what's impressive is the understanding of what is required from that genre and what she's able to provide in the most uncomfortable sections of the song. Because the higher part to me is not the most impressive, is what she's able to do in the parts where she doesn't feel comfortable. That really shows more mastery to me.
Last word, let this be the last word we share. Why do we yell if we don't care? On some rich, I'll give you one.
Here she grows. You know?
You can't back them myself, and it's about time we wrap that thing up. Whoa.
Nice, nice.
Say something now.
Yes, very trendy sound.
Yeah, it's really cool. Again, play it again from the beginning. I want.
Coming soon. The new Avengers movie.
Many bad things, I don't want the last word. Let this be the last word we share. Why do we yell if we don't care? On some
Is
real
Rora from, what do we say she was from?
I don't know.
Is either Thailand, Japan, or Korea?
Oh well.
I'll give you one, two, three. You
I guess in
can't
those sections where you can tell, like, you see the coaching aspect of it, you see the trendy aspect of it. Is you kind of nowadays, especially with like the way the market is kind of working and stuff, and the whole TikTok stuff and the K-pop sounds, is like, yeah, you do need someone that can do, you know, like really high notes at a falsetto. It's typical of every fucking Korean pop song. And then you also see the aspects of it is the cool, moody R&B.
Yeah, is the breathiness. I think what's so cool about this is like her mastery when it comes to like how much breath are we exerting, how much comfort are we finding. Obviously, English is not her first language, so that's
Doesn't seem to be,
another.
no.
So that's another. You know, as somebody who didn't speak English as a first language first, is coming very forward right now. The having to speak in another language and singing at the same time with different textures in the
She's
voice,
Korean.
it makes it all a little bit more difficult. She's Korean.
And it's about time we wrap that thing up. Whoa. Say
Yeah, see, I think
something
she's more
now.
comfortable in that clear note sound, in that belty-like sound. I feel like she's comfortable there, so she might be a natural belter.
So she could be a
Coached
great
in to do
balladeer.
something else. Yeah, correct.
Yeah, so she could actually.
Vocal power, though.
Yeah, she would be the one to, I guess, for us in
Rora.
terms of like interesting vocal
14.
prowess and stuff like that. It would be interesting to keep an eye on her to see, especially how sort of puberty hits her, what the adaptation process is. Because obviously puberty for women, it's very different to the one in men. The one in men, I would be fucking worried for
But
this
that's
geezer.
I think that's the reason why you don't get that young
You don't get-
debutees in male groups though, and like in boy groups. I don't feel like.
When are they gonna debut? I didn't even
I
read
was
that.
gonna say I am so excited to hear what their title track is gonna sound like,
Yeah.
and what they're gonna do with all of this, because you're getting trinkets of things, right? You're getting like this is so exciting.
Wasn't Temin from Shiny like a trainee like since he was like 11 years old?
Yeah,
you
he
know,
was like he started training when he was like 9 or something.
So I
like
wonder
that.
how they deal with that in the agencies, in these labels, especially with the lads. Like, how do you deal with that? Because like
I
you're doing
don't
do
know.
assessment runs at 13, 12, 14, and then like 10 or what is it?
Mark,
The guys from
Mark
Mark.
was also training since he was like super young.
Yeah, so it's like, how do you deal with that?
No
'Cause
idea.
that's not gonna be their voice.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe you work around that. You work around
You focus
the
on
knowledge.
the dancing
Yeah,
and-
the knowledge that they won't settle into that voice, or you
like
work
Felix
around.
when that mother hit puberty from Stray Kids. He's like
But he came.
his
he
career
came,
changed.
But he came into the reality show quite after hitting puberty. So
Just interesting thoughts. Yes, she is probably
14.
gonna be one of like what would you call it, our favorites to review, because
Yeah.
she's interesting, very intriguing, Rora.
Yeah.
God bless her. Shout out to Babymonster, and adios.